Vamos então dar início ao próximo.
Okay, let us start with the next lecture for this afternoon. I'd like to invite those who are still on the coffee break to come back to the plenary session. Please come back so you can follow the content. Brazilian coffee around the world, instruments for commercial promotion and strategies for international integration by Apex Brazil. I'd like to invite Pedro Netto, agribusiness manager from Apex Brazil, to come to the stage. Good afternoon, everyone. I do hope everyone can hear me well. Vinicius said yes, he can hear me. Yesterday, we talked very quickly here during the opening session about how Apex sees the Brazilian coffee production, how we see it in the international market, and how we seek to help rural producers, companies, and exporters to carry products to the international market, and also helping put our coffee in a very outstanding position. I'd like to give you a few details on how we are doing it and how we can involve the sector more and more in the actions organized by Apex Brazil for this segment. First of all, what is Apex? Apex is the official business agency from Brazil. Our work is saying good things about our country abroad, showing the reality we have in Brazil, showing the best practices adopted by the rural producers and coffee producers. In social terms, in terms of work, we have a highly productive, high-quality coffee that uses science and technology. Our role is showing that outside to attract the attention of global consumers to our coffee production. We do it through a series of actions. So we have the intelligence area that will identify alternative markets. Last year, when we received those very high tariffs from the US, we researched alternative markets for coffee so we could give new alternatives to Brazilian exporters. We have an area that will work with qualification for exports. So we support producers to get certifications. We organize an export plan, a business plan for free. For each business, we help with the design. In a previous edition of the Design Export, we helped to redo the packaging of a company from Jacutinga to export coffee to Chile. They started using it in Brazil. And we are well known for the commercial promotion areas, business promotion and image promotion also. And inside of all that, we have an important strategy. We have sectorial projects. In the sector of foodstuff, beverages, and agribusiness, we have 26 projects at Apex supporting almost all the major segments we work in that are not commodities. It's harder to promote commodities abroad because of pricing issues. But all the things we can discuss with quality, showing the preference of Brazil, and we help add value. And we are providing support with direct actions and sectorial actions. And actually, we are going to promote several actions in different fairs. Apex took part in 34 fairs last year in 25 countries. That includes the major fairs worldwide. We are present where the major buyers are. We have Ciao China, Ciao Paris, Anuga in Europe, Foodex in Japan, many actions in the Americas and in the US. And more, we are organizing actions in Africa and in the southeast of Asia. So Brazilian producers who would like to take part can enroll on our website. We prepare a ranking and we help take you to these markets. We have been achieving important results, so that's why we do not have many openings, especially for Ciao, Anuga, Hudex. These fairs are great, create wonderful opportunities. We have different fairs in India, for example. We are seeing an impact in the Brazilian trade balance, and exports are really growing for all the sectors represented there. And through our sectorial projects, we have partnerships with many associations. We have 67 other actions in 28 countries. So we have many actions in partnerships with other associations. We have 100 events and many opportunities for Brazilian producers to sell their products internationally. Of course, we have some very specific fairs, but many of them accept coffee, all types of coffee, soluble coffee, and roasted and green coffee. And within our direct actions, we have two specific ones which are great and worth mentioning. The Export More Brazil for specialty coffees. In this case, Apex brings the buyers from the international market. We take them to visit plantations in many places and then to try the cup, to have the sensory experience of our coffee. Last year, we took them to the International Week of Coffee in Belo Horizonte. We took them to Manhuaçu, to the Espírito Santo state and Acre. We have taken them to many different regions of Brazil. And our idea is investing more and more on this project. In November, we'll have a specific event for specialty coffee. And if you would like to take part, to take buyers for a blind test and taste your coffee, we will open our inscriptions on our website very soon. We're talking about practical opportunities. Last time we brought more than 30 coffee buyers, and I can say we created many, many businesses. And even in connection with Export More, we have partnerships. Brazil in the showcase. The idea here is through a partnership abroad, talking directly to final consumers and consumers. We have a partnership in the U.S., and one with Luckin Coffee, a Chinese giant. They have 300 million clients. They are leaders in China. They are now advancing in the United States. We organized an event in the state of Rondônia, and we brought a buyer from Luckin Coffee. And then we talked more and more. In June of 24, they decided to buy 250 million in Brazilian coffee, and in the end of 2024, in the presence of the Vice President, Geraldo Alckmin, they signed a commitment to buy $2.5 billion in Brazilian coffee, 240,000 tons. To give an idea of the size of it, in 22, we used to export $80 million in coffee for China. Last year, we reached 460 million, and the forecast until 29 is reaching $2.5 billion in sales specifically for that company. And how is that coffee delivered to the end consumer? They have typical Brazilian stores. They want to have 30 stores located in Brazil with the image of Brazil. The Chinese consumers understand they are going into a store that concentrates on Brazilian products, and they organize campaigns such as the Brazil season. Like we have in those pictures here, they put cups with the face of Brazil with toucans and other animals, and they organize social advertising in media. They hired the Chinese actress who was the protagonist of the Mulan movie, and they found a capybara, which was the mascot. They put it on the coffee cup, and they say, get to know the real flavor of the Brazilian Arabica at Luckin Coffee. This market is starting to consume coffee now in China, and the consumers are investing in premium coffees, and they're leaving the store with a coffee cup that informs that it's a Brazilian coffee cup. We delivered 300 million cups to the Chinese consumers last year. So we are opening direct opportunities of sales for the Brazilian producers, 2.5 billion. And we are also positioning Brazil as a country that offers a high-quality coffee, a coffee that counts on environmental protection, totally connected to protecting our biodiversity and the rainforests. We're doing that in a growing market so that China will consume more and more coffee, and they will have in mind what Brazil is. We have two sectorial projects that make us proud. One with BSCA and one with BIX, where we work with qualification of the producers so they can work in international markets, and also the baristas so they can use the Brazilian coffee, understanding our specificities and all the types of coffee we can offer. We have more structuring actions for the sector. We bring journalists, we declare promotions, and next week will be in Belgium, in the world of coffee. We'll take Brazilian producers and entrepreneurs. They will be present where the buyers are to sell coffee directly. We support certifications and we have many image promotion actions. So we promote the Brazilian specialty coffee, in the case of green coffee and roast coffee, and also soluble coffee, so we can support Brazilian entrepreneurs and coffee production in diverse forms. Vinicius from BSA will come up on the stage and he will explain more things to you and answer questions. But it's important to say that you can count on the perennial support from Apex for the national coffee production. And we also have more institutional actions. I didn't talk about them yesterday, but it's important to mention them. An important one is the National Meeting of Agro and Agricultural Attachés. Once a year in December, we bring all the attachés from Brazil, spread throughout the world, diplomats from agro that do commercial promotion at the embassies. We bring them to Brazil and we organize seminars and lectures. And we have almost a business round with sectorial associations. So people from BSCA and ABIX can sit side by side with those attachés and understand the dynamics of each market, ask for more opening or support for regulatory issues. It's a golden opportunity we have of listening to what each market and each country is doing in terms of coffee, and also to be close to the attaché from the agriculture ministry to support the sector. And also have business missions. I talked about the agreement with Luckin Coffee. It was signed during a presidential mission in China. Recently, we had one in Spain, which concentrated more on the industry. We will have a few more this year. In this case, we have the president, the vice president, high-level entrepreneurs and politicians and leaderships from other countries. That's where we can solve many issues and we can create new agreements and talk to important entrepreneurs, especially Brazilian entrepreneurs who want to sell large volumes and want to be in touch with the government or large consumers. Presidential missions are certainly a great opportunity to be there with a large Brazilian delegation talking about Brazil. Brazil will be on the media. That's where we can talk to them from equal to equal. This is a summary. I'd like to invite you all to access apexbrazil.com.br, or you can check out our QR code to see our agenda from Apex. Presidential missions are decided at the last minute. Of course, they depend on the agendas of the president and vice president, but our fairs, our missions, and Export More Brazil will be there. Check it out, and I'd like to invite you to follow Apex. We have the duty and the mission of taking Brazilian products and Brazilian coffee into the international market. We want to show you how it works, support you, and create new opportunities for you to sell your products. That's what I had to say quickly. I am available if you have any questions. Thank you all for your attention.